Welcome to the Real Estate Marathon Podcast, your guide in the race to financial freedom through real estate investing and sound financial practices. This podcast is for anyone interested in learning more about real estate investing, personal finances, and a new take on traditional retirement. Now, here are your hosts, Larry Fierro and Mike Moe.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Real Estate Marathon Podcast, your Monday morning motivation edition, where we follow up on the call to action from our previous episode. We hit you with a little motivation to start Monday morning off right, and then we tee up our episode to come. And Mr. Fierro, that episode last Thursday, man, I don't know if we can sum it down to like one call to action. There's probably 50 good nuggets you can pull out of that episode with Mark Pellets.
Anytime you get somebody that knowledgeable on mindset, forget about it. Like, I'm all in.
Dude, like, not just knowledgeable, but like lives what he talks about. We went through him building up that empire and then living on the streets and then rebuilding up that empire and that mindset that he had to go through to kind of go through those ups and downs and to make sure that this time around it was a sustainable, empire that he was building. And yeah, it's a fantastic episode. We did end up pinning him down at the end of it and getting a call to action out of it. So with that, what was it, Mr. Fierro?
Decide. If you want to be in the real estate game, you have to make that decision and jump in. And it was actually kind of a two-part one, right? Because he also suggested after you decide that you find a mentor. Yeah.
Which is, there are two very, very, very important steps, because you think about it. A lot of people are talking about, investing in real estate. Literally, I tell a lot of people that I invest in real estate, and the response is, oh yeah, I've always wanted to do that. Or yeah, I've really thought about doing that. Or, my husband or my girlfriend really wants to do that, but they want to do it, but they just talk about it. Like, you got to decide that you're going to do it. And then once you decide that you're going to do it, the best way to accelerate, your learning curve and getting into the game is to find somebody who is where you want to be. And see how you can get them as a mentor? Like, what can you do for them? You can do it the old fashioned way of just trying to provide as much value for them. And then hopefully you can learn from them while you're doing that. Or you can go pay for a mentor too, which is totally cool too. But
yeah, and like we've said several different times throughout the year of our podcast or more, success leaves clues. And if you want to be in that area, it's not going to be that difficult to find somebody who's successful, because the evidence is right there. They're out teaching. Usually they're showing people how to do what they do. They're passionate about real estate. They're on the boards. They're on Facebook groups, and they just get out there, because let's be honest, when you love real estate, you love talking about real estate.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And I love, I don't like reinventing the wheel, but I like making the wheel faster. So like, you can find these mentors who can give you the wheel, and then you don't have to use that same wheel, but you can modify it a little bit and see how it fits your needs. But you can take the things that they've learned and the things that they've the lumps that they've taken throughout their business to make sure that you don't take those, but can modify. It's not like a copy and paste. It's just, one of those things that will get you ahead a little bit quicker and expedite your learning curve throughout this journey. Because there's a lot to learn, man, a ton to learn. And it seems kind of daunting at first, but having somebody who can be there with you throughout that learning process is really beneficial.
Absolutely. So you got to decide to take the journey and then find the best traveling companion.
Heck yeah, man. I like it. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. All right. So we've got, what do we got for Monday morning, man? It's December. It's, mid-December, right?
Getting towards the end of it, and it makes me a little bit nostalgic. And today's quote, today's motivation, if you will, comes from the late great Yogi Berra. He had a lot of sayings, a lot of yogiisms, but one of my favorites was, "It ain't over till it's over." And we're getting towards the end of the year, and now you don't want to be taking your foot off the gas. This is when you should be putting your foot on the gas. Don't pump the brake, and just try and finish out the year strong and carry that momentum over into the new year.
Yeah, man, I love that. It's such a classic, but it's needed in this time, because you hear so many people say, "Oh, New Year's coming up, so the next 2 weeks is coast time," right? They think they're gonna all of a sudden, the calendar is gonna flip and they're gonna be motivated, but it doesn't work like that. You got to take these 2 weeks and build that momentum and keep up on that momentum from everything you've done in 2020, and don't take these 2 weeks off, because you're just digging yourself in a hole. You always want to be taking steps forward. And even though we got 2 weeks left of 2020, and yeah, we're gonna kick off 2021 with a fantastic goal setting session and getting into where we want to go. But you don't want to take these last 2 weeks off. That's wasted time, and you don't want to be wasting any time.
It really is. You're coming towards the end of the year, and you just want to make sure you're putting the gas down and trying to finish strong. And it's one of those things where Yogi Berra it's just the man was so intellectual. We could run an entire podcast just on Yogi sayings and improve lifestyles.
Well, you could, because I didn't know who he was before I started recording this, but that's all right.
There's an entire listening group of Yankees fans right now that just went, what?
Yeah, well, I'm a 32-year-old Minnesotan, 33, dang it, I'm getting old, 33-year-old Minnesotan who hates the Yankees. So,
wow, to each his own. There's Yankees fans, and then there's the people that are wrong. So
there you go.
But anyway,
either way, I'll respect that quote for sure.
Let's agree to disagree on that, and finish your year strong. And I'm kind of excited about this coming Thursday's episode too. We're kind of going a little old school for the podcast a little bit.
Yeah, man. So we're going back to basics. We've gotten over 100 episodes. We've done a lot of interviews. We started off with a lot of solo episodes. It's just you and I riffing on the good and greats of personal finances and real estate. And we're going back to it, man. After 100 episodes, I figure we should revisit some of the basics. And if you're deciding, going back to our call to action, if you're deciding that 2021 is the year that you're going to get into real estate, we're going to bring you back to the basics and give you a really good overview on some deal analysis basics and some things that you should know getting into them. And this is brought to you by I don't know what you would call him, my sister-in-law's now fiance, who listened to a handful of our episodes, and he brought a deal that he thought was a good deal, and it was a terrible deal. So my goal after hearing that was, if you've listened to a few of our episodes and you don't know that's a terrible deal, we're going to do an episode for you, and it's going back to basics. And this one's for Steve and everybody else.
Steve, this one's for you, man. Dedicated to Steve, and we're gonna make sure that we don't disappoint him. He's gonna know what a great deal is, and he's gonna know when to run. Yeah,
exactly. Yep. So, but no, it'll be good, man. It'll be good to get back to some basics and just crunch some numbers.
Yeah, and I kind of miss some of the episodes where you and I just get to talk about the knowledge and the nitty gritty and the framework that we've created, that we're working on creating through the Real Estate Marathon podcast.
For sure,
and
man.
Like you said, success leaves clues, and if you're listening to this, then you follow the clue right to us, because we're success.
There you go, man. We've had some great guests, don't get me wrong, and we'll continue to have guests, but it'll be good to dive into the details again and get, like you said, get our hands dirty and get down to some investing basics.
That's it. Well, you guys, there's a couple weeks left of the year. It ain't over till it's over. Put your foot on the gas, and let's make this year a stellar year at the end.
There we go. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Real Estate Marathon podcast. See you next time.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Real Estate Marathon podcast. If you found value in any of the content from this show, consider supporting us in the following ways. Subscribe to the Real Estate Marathon podcast. Leave a rating and review. Continue the conversation with like-minded individuals on social media by heading over to the Real Estate Marathon podcast Facebook group, or follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Real Estate Marathon Podcast.